So what I want to wrap up with and kind of conclude with is what you all can do to help make this stuff happen. And the simple answer is to pick up the telephone. Honestly, I think the most powerful political tool in history was invented by Alexander Graham Bell, 130 odd years ago. Legislators hate getting phone calls. They really, I've talked to legislators who say, I got 5 phone calls on this issue, so what do I do? 5 phone calls can put somebody into a panic. Imagine what 6 phone calls would do. Or if, 6 phone calls, maybe a dozen. I mean, they don't let, the thing about a phone call is, not only does it say that you're concerned about this issue, it also says that you've made the connection between this issue and that official and what they can do to fix the issue. That in your mind, those two things are now linked. And if you call your state legislator, your state representative and your state senator, and you say, here's the issue, I want you to vote for it, I want you to sponsor it, and I want you to tell me today you're going to do those 2 things. 3 points. That puts them on notice. And if enough of you do that, then they panic and they call me, or they call Paula, or they call someone who's going to say, well, now what do I do? That's where we want them, okay? And that, I can't do that. I have called my legislators, and they know me, which is fine, and they're decent people. They're decent people. But you can call your legislator in a way that I can't, and you can talk to your neighbors and ask them to call, and you can talk to your fellow parishioners, and you can talk to the parents of other kids on your kids' sports teams. You can do that sort of thing, which I can't do, and which can really move mountains. So that's the kind of thing that, for starters, basic, that's what you all should do. Another, for fun, after you've made your phone calls, another thing for fun I would recommend you do is go to the State Senate's website. It's ilga.gov. And on the home page there, you'll see 2 columns. One says Senate and one says House. Under the Senate, there's a impeachment tribunal button. Click on that. And on that page, you'll find transcripts of the impeachment tribunal. They have posted, as of yesterday, they have posted the draft transcript of Thursday's session, which not only has the governor's closing argument, which is a hoot, if you haven't missed it, and also has David Ellis's, the prosecutor's closing argument. It also has all of the members of the Senate who wanted to explain their vote to impeach everything that they said, why they thought we should impeach the governor. It's all there in black and white. Now, it's 260 pages long. So I want to warn you that before you go to print it all. The last, although, if you've got time, the last 60 pages is mostly where you get senators saying, here's why I'm voting to not toss this guy out of office. Read through those and have a highlighter with you. And make note of everyone who says that they support reform, that they want to see this happen, that they're sick of the way things are done. It's one thing to throw Rod Blagojevich out of office. But we did that with George Ryan, and where did it land us? We've got to look at the system that allows people like that to rise to the office of governor. And getting rid of Rod Blagojevich is really only the first step. There's a lot more work that needs to be done. And the more that we can hold them accountable and remind them of what they said they would do, the more likely we are to get real, substantial, meaningful reform this year, which would be mind-blowing. So let's do that.
Could I ask a very important question? Excuse me.
Oh, okay. When our city tried to get local fair elections, public financing, our city attorney ran into a law passed with Pate Phillips in 1992 forbidding any public funding of campaigns in the state of Illinois. So what are we going to do about that law? They said it really didn't apply to that, somebody thought, and we need to get really police the Madigan. Well, we've been trying and apparently haven't been successful yet.
The question is about what's called the Election Interference Act. It's Section 9/25.1 of the Election Code. Well, because I've been reading it lately, and it is a problem. I don't know that it specifically prohibits public financing, but if we're going to create a public financing system, it's easy enough to say, except as otherwise provided in statute.
It says that.
The point of the law is that exactly what George Ryan was doing, to say that that public resources should not go to support candidates. But if you're talking about a system that benefits all candidates on an equal basis, that's very different. So I think we do need to be aware of that provision, and that is in the proposal of changes.
We'll keep trying to get an opinion from the Attorney General. This is what our attorneys have to do.
And it allows you to get the minutes and also the agendas for Economic Development Group. Has your group talked at all about that concept?
Actually, I met Wednesday with a fellow named Mike McCabe with the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Wisconsin is a couple of years ahead of Illinois on some of these things. They had their governor had some issues. I have to say, I'm originally from Ohio, and Governor Bob Taft there had some problems. Well, he did. He had some golf games he forgot to report, and the Workers' Compensation Commission invested money in rare coins and lost $1 gazillion. They gave a lot of money. But some of these other states' scandals, I think, what? I mean, not that it's not a big deal, but compared to what we have, I mean, compared to, heaven forbid, the Willis kids, I mean, just to start with that, for us to go through that kind of crisis, I think we've got crisis over everybody else. We have problems that other states cannot comprehend. I talked to people in Massachusetts about, we have a campaign, and a contributor gave $250,000 to the candidate, and they said, wait a minute, you can't give $250,000 from one donor to one candidate. Well, you can, actually. In Illinois, it happens, often enough. What we have here is so bonkers compared to what the rest of the country is. Now, Wisconsin, to their credit, acknowledged that they had to do something, and yes, they've cleaned up the Open Meetings Act a bit, and their FOIA, and they also have a very interesting new, they combined their ethics agency with their elections agency into one big agency, which is an interesting idea. I don't know that we can do that here constitutionally, but it's certainly worth looking at. And we are, in talks with people in Wisconsin about how they did it and why. And